After weather, officers and deputies take their Special Olympic donations to new heights.
And another business closure over the weekend to make room for student housing. Why some are for and against the change. As the snow continues to fall, we've got team coverage to keep you up to date on winter weather around mid-Missouri. Plus, lawmakers try to bring ethics changes to the Capitol. And Senator Claire McCaskill speaks out on what she calls a nationwide drug epidemic. Our weather team has been in storm mode all day tracking the snow, and it looks like there is more on the way. Good evening. I'm Brittany Pieper. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have live team coverage on the weather. Jim Reek is out checking the road conditions in Boone County. He's in Storm 8, KOMU-8 Storm Patrol. Tori Stepanek is also braving the cold temperatures. But first, let's send it over to Kenton. He's warm inside here in the live Doppler 8 First Alert Weather Center for a look at what we can expect.
Brittany, thank you very much. But first, right now, we have Jim Reek out in Storm Patrol 8. He has the latest on what you can expect out in the roadways. Jim.
Kenton, thank you very much. We're here in Storm Patrol. Now, let's continue our storm coverage, and I'll send it to my colleague, Tori Stepanek.
Hey, Jim, thank you very much. I'm outside at the corner of Old 63. That's all I have for now. I'll have more reports later, but for now, let's send it back to the studio.
The City of Columbia and MoDOT have 45 crew members out working to help keep the streets safe for drivers. Public Works started pre-treating the roads before the snow fell today. It used a salt mix to help with trouble areas in the city. MoDOT says its crews use a sand and salt mix for traction as well as beet juice for anti-icing. MoDOT also said it aims to keep its routes looking like the city's.
We check in with our drivers as they're out on the road and have them observe, you know, what do the city streets look like. Let's make sure that they're consistent and look the same as the City of Columbia.
The pre-treating on the roads is primarily on trouble areas, intersections, bridges, curves, areas that are known to be dangerous when it gets slick.
For an up-to-date look at what streets in the City of Columbia look like and what they're treating, visit our website, KOMU.com. We've had many schools around our viewing area dismiss classes early today. Slater Public Schools announced a late start for Wednesday. Mizzou also canceled all of its evening classes and activities tonight. They'll make a decision on tomorrow's classes by 5 a.m. We'll continue to keep you up to date with the latest closings and cancellations, both on the bottom of your screen and on our website, KOMU.com. Lawmakers in Jefferson City look to tackle one of this year's biggest issues, ethics reform. KOMU-8's Connor Smith is in the newsroom with the latest from the Capitol.
The sponsor says House Bill 2166 is designed to limit the amount of influence that lobbyists have over lawmakers in Jefferson City. Alferman says he expects the bill to go to the House floor for a vote next week.
A robbery at a Jefferson City apartment complex ends with a mother and her child hiding in the bathroom and a suspect at large. 3 men are suspected in the robbery at the Broadmoor Apartments around 10:30 last night. Officers arrested 18-year-olds Antonio Jones and William Murray, who face pending charges. One of the suspects forced his way into the apartment and showed a handgun before demanding everyone get on the ground. The mother and her 2-year-old child hid in the bathroom while the men went through her apartment. Police say the suspects fled the scene and after stealing items from the residents. One resident at the apartment complex says this incident doesn't necessarily cause a safety concern for him.
I didn't feel safe here in the place because a lot of cops come by watching this place here, and nothing had happened, but we didn't know nothing about the break-in last night, but we didn't know nothing about that.
KOMU-8 News will continue to monitor the search for the third suspect. Police say a Cole County man was arrested Monday after making a false bomb report at a Jefferson City business. They say a witness told them 51-year-old Max Sturgis walked into Sunoco Plastics around 4 yesterday and placed a suspicious box in an office. The package was labeled as dynamite but actually contained fireworks. Police say the business was evacuated until police determined the package was safe. Police in St. Charles County arrested 3 suspects they say were involved in 2 armed robberies in Fulton over the weekend. Police arrested Anthony Crudup, Devon Heron, and Kyle Berry early Sunday morning. The suspects are also accused in 2 other armed robberies in the Jonesburg and Lake St. Louis areas. The 3 suspects are in custody and will face charges in Callaway County. Deputies in Camdenton say they arrested a man for possession of a controlled substance today. 35-year-old Harold Ray Townsend was arrested when deputies responded to a domestic disturbance Friday evening. They found methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. Townsend was taken to the Camden County Adult Detention Facility and is being held on a $1,000 cash bond. Residents in the 1600 block of Starlight Boulevard in Cole County heard a gunshot last night around 10 p.m. According to a news release, Cole County deputies are investigating the incident that started with an argument. The victim was admitted to St. Mary's Hospital, then transported to University Hospital. Anyone with information in this incident can call the Cole County Sheriff's Office. The problem with overprescribing certain painkillers and how Missouri hopes to fix it. That's coming up. A U.S. Senator paid a visit to the governor's office today to talk about a problem nationwide and here in Missouri, prescription drug abuse. KOMU-8's Andrew Hebert tells us about Senator Claire McCaskill's special field hearing.
Senator Claire McCaskill discussed the nation's opioid epidemic today. Doctors and state lawmakers weighed in on possible solutions to treat and reduce prescription drug addiction. Ultimately, the solution will take time, but Senator McCaskill said options like statewide monitoring program, broader insurance coverages, and reduced amount of pills prescribed can lead to less opiate addiction in the future.
From NCAA violations to struggles on the court, it has been a tough year for the Missouri basketball team, but the players know what they have to do to get back on track. That's next in sports. University of Missouri decisions in the past year might pose a threat to its funding, with lawmakers threatening cuts. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. State universities agreed to freeze tuition rates for the 2016-2017 school year. That after Governor Nixon proposed increased funding for higher education. Now the deal is in question. KOMU-8's Michael Lindquist is in the newsroom after talking to lawmakers about a threat to MU's funding.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. And I talked to a few lawmakers earlier today, and they say they're trying to work across the aisle to make sure MU and other public universities receive a bump in funding from the state next year. And now, but some members from both parties say they have a few reservations about some of the decisions MU officials made last year, but they didn't specify which decisions. Now, again, neither Weber nor Rowden specified which MU decisions were made. That has complicated the budget process. MU Interim Chancellor Hank Foley is set to deliver the State of the University address tomorrow, where funding is likely to be a topic. We will stream that live on our website at KOMU.com.
Also in Jefferson City, an ethics reform bill is a step closer to reality. Tomorrow, Representative Justin Alferman will read it for the 3rd time and send it to the Missouri Senate. The bill would limit gifts from lobbyists to state lawmakers.
I'm really excited at this discussion that we had on the floor today because it seems like there is an overwhelming majority of legislators who are committed to actually getting ethics reform done this year.
Other lawmakers have said Alferman's bill could go even further to include areas like campaign finances.
Here's what's happening right now. A panel is meeting at this hour to discuss the issue of sex trafficking. Today marks the first time Missouri has commemorated the month of January as Sex Trafficking Awareness Month. KOMU-8's Alyssa Casares is live outside of the Columbia Public Library where the panel is meeting. Alyssa?
Right now, survivors of human trafficking are speaking out against human exploitation. The Stop Human Trafficking Coalition is hosting a panel here at the library. Earlier today, the coalition joined other organizations to help raise awareness for sex trafficking in Missouri. More than 30 groups gathered at the Capitol to showcase their work. People visited the booths to talk about how to address human trafficking.
And so it'll be a really important educational tool for folks who want to be educated and folks who want to be part of educating, to use this month to really focus in on this topic.
Crime Victims Compensation and Safe at Home program have joined us. We have just a wide variety of organizations serving victims of crime, but most specifically human trafficking survivors.
The panel goes until 8:30, and the coalition said guests can bring donations for the survivor and join them for a Q&A. Reporting live in Columbia, Alyssa Casares, KOMU-8 News.
MU Assistant Professor Melissa Click pleaded not guilty to third-degree assault charges. The Columbia Assistant City Councilor filed the charge yesterday morning against Click. Click's lawyer represented her in court today. She was not there. MU student Mark Scheerbecker asked the city to file the charges as he feared for his physical well-being. Her next court appearance will be February 16th. We've learned the Board of Curators will hold a public session tomorrow to address personnel and contract negotiations. We do not know if this has any connection to Click's situation.
The Mizzou Athletic Department says it has no further comment on quarterback Maddie Mock's indefinite suspension. Athletic Director Mac Rhodes and head coach Barry Odom confirmed the news late last night. They have not confirmed the legitimacy of the video that surfaced. They have also not confirmed Mock is the person in the video. This marks the third time the former starting quarterback has been suspended since the beginning of the 2015 season. Here's a timeline. On September 29th, Mock was suspended for disciplinary reasons related to team policy. Freshman quarterback Drew Lock took over. Mock was reinstated October 25th. Less than a week later, November 1st, Mock was suspended again. He was reinstated in December after Coach Odom replaced Gary Pinkel, and now the latest, an indefinite suspension again. Players have tweeted their support for Mock. Freshman wide receiver Keon DeLosa tweeted, "That video is from 2 years ago. Everyone has made a mistake before. Somebody just felt like it would be cool to ruin his life. He's been clean." Linebacker Michael Shearer tweeted in part, "But now since I did that, I will say yes, the video is very old. Yes, Maddie has been doing everything he can do to be a better person."
A Columbia man was sentenced in federal court today for robbing 6 Columbia banks and running away on a bike. 43-year-old Sean Becker was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months in federal prison without parole. Becker pleaded guilty in August, admitting he had robbed 6 banks in less than 2 months. For a timeline of the 6 robberies with more details on each one, you can check out our website at KOMU.com.
Today, Missouri is scrambling to create a constitutional sound sentence for juveniles convicted of first-degree murder. This after a U.S. Supreme Court ruling yesterday. KOMU-8's Andrew Hebert is here in the studio to explain what the case Montgomery versus Louisiana means here in Missouri.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled yesterday that its 2012 ruling banning mandatory life without parole sentences for juvenile murderers applies to those previously convicted. The Montgomery versus Louisiana ruling has forced attorneys and state lawmakers to revisit the prison time for minors already sentenced. As of today, 80 inmates in Missouri have been recognized as in this position. Those individuals will await the Missouri Supreme Court's decision on whether to have a parole hearing or a sentence review.
Cloudy and cooler temperatures today, but let's send it over to Kenton to see what we can expect for the rest of the week.
Thank you, Brittany, very much. Good evening, everyone. Certainly a cooler day today. Actually, you can see that on our 24-hour temperature change graphic. 5 degrees cooler, actually. But look over to the west. It's just a bit warmer. Warmer conditions are on the way, and that graphic will be orange the rest of this week because we are starting a warming trend tomorrow. 31 right now in Columbia, 33 in Jefferson City. A little cooler up north, about 26 in Macon. Winds not terrible, only 5 to 10 miles an hour throughout the state, but that is giving us a little bit of a chillier, feels like temperature, a wind chill of 23 in Columbia. Otherwise, tonight and tomorrow, clouds will eventually decrease late tonight for a lot of sunshine tomorrow, starting off the day in the middle 20s, ending the day 20 degrees higher in the middle 40s, and then we are warming up from there. I have the latest 8-day forecast after the break.
Kenton, thanks. Coming up after weather, a live report from Lincoln University. Missouri folks trying to help folks in Flint, Michigan. After 7 months of search parties and rescue missions, the search for Jonathan Shea could be over. KOMU-8's Jake Shanero is live in Rolla with the latest information. And Jake, what can you tell us?
The Phelps County Sheriff's believes the remains are that of 13-year-old Jonathan Shea, who went missing last July. Yesterday, sheriff's deputies got a call about the discovery of human remains near Dry Fork Creek, the same area where they originally searched for Shea. Shea's mother did confirm to investigators that a shoe found near the remains was her son's. The sheriff says he learned a lot over the course of the search and wishes he could have done things differently.
Anytime you get involved in a situation like this, nobody wants to, you learn from it. You learn from your mistakes, and we learn from it. I mean, our detectives, our staff, and I think any other law enforcement agency out here would be foolish to tell you that, no, we wouldn't have done anything different. You know, there's a lot of things that we learned.
The remains will be sent to a forensic dentist in Columbia for identification. Be sure to follow KOMU-8 News on Twitter for the newest information. Reporting live in Rolla, Jake Shinero, KOMU-8 News.
He was last seen July 9th with his cousin, 11-year-old Xavier Baylor of St. James. The two of them were playing in the yard at their grandmother's house when they made plans to run away. The two split up and Baylor was found the next day. Throughout the search, the Phelps County Sheriff's Department used thermal imaging, air surveillance, search dogs, and dive teams to look for Shay. According to the St. James Leader Journal, the most recent search for the teenager was October 24th.
We're following a developing story out of Moberly. Several agencies are responding to a public safety issue. KOMU-8's Alyssa Casares has been out there for a few hours and joins us on the phone to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, Brittany, I've been standing off of Rest Haven Drive, which is actually closed off right now for almost 4 hours now. During that time, I've seen Moberly Police and Fire working alongside the Missouri State Highway Patrol Bomb Squad, and they've been removing unidentified boxes from a house. I saw authorities actually use a robot to move the boxes off of the front porch. Nobody has been able to confirm any other information about the ongoing situation, but neighbors did tell me this isn't the first offense for this house. I'm going to stay out here and I'm going to talk to authorities, and we'll bring you any new information on KOMU-8 News at 9 and 10. Reporting live in Moberly, Alyssa Casares, KOMU-8 News.
Senator Claire McCaskill announced today she has breast cancer. The Democratic senator made the announcement in a blog post. She says doctors found the cancer during a regular mammogram. She will spend the next 3 weeks in St. Louis receiving treatment. She said that it's, quote, a little scary, but her prognosis is good and she expects a full recovery. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Roy Blunt stopped by Columbia today on his statewide tour, announcing he's running for re-election. This would be his second term. The only other Republican in the race is political newcomer Christopher Batchey. Missouri Secretary of State Jason Kander is seeking the Democratic nomination.
A man who robbed a mid-Missouri bank and 11 other businesses was sentenced in federal court today. Timothy Hoyt was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. He robbed Alliant Bank in Blackwater and other businesses across Kansas, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Oklahoma in 2013. He pleaded guilty last September. Columbia police arrested a man early Sunday morning after responding to a disturbance call at Sideline Sports Bar on Big Bear Boulevard. Carlos Brown was arrested and accused of domestic assault, unlawful use of a weapon, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Police say Brown threatened to harm a woman in the parking lot late Saturday night before taking a gun inside the bar. Brown was later stopped at Whispering Meadows, where CPD found the handgun in the glove compartment. 25 people were arrested after a weekend pub crawl at the Lake of the Ozarks. 2 faced DWI felonies. 40-year-old Omar Ruiz and 22-year-old Bethany Launstein were both arrested and charged with driving under the influence. Both were taken to the Camden County Jail. Ruiz is being held without bond. Launstein posted a $1,000 bond and will appear in court March 22nd.
Today, Governor Nixon was in Washington, D.C. to learn more about the challenges of leading during a crisis. The Homeland Security Director led the panel discussion that included Nixon and other state and city chief executives. They shared insights ranging from terrorist attacks to natural disasters. It included decision-making and communication during times of crisis.
Right now, 3 of the 4 Republican candidates for Missouri governor are getting ready for their first debate at Revel Events venue in Jefferson City. This is the first time the candidates will be together in true debate form. The winner of the GOP nomination in the primaries will face Missouri Attorney General Chris Koster, the only Democratic candidate. And remember, KOMU-8 will hold our own debate on March 17th at the Missouri Theater, and you can watch it right here on KOMU.
2 people were seriously hurt after a tour bus overturned on I-70 near Blue Springs. Fire crews say the charter bus from St. Louis was on the side of the road with a flat tire when it was sideswiped by a tractor trailer. The fire department said 8 people were taken to the hospital. Witnesses say the tractor trailer driver was swerving before the accident. Another nice day here in mid-Missouri. possibility of snow. Let's send it over to Kenton for a check of the forecast.
Jim, thank you very much. We are 3 degrees cooler here in Columbia versus 24 hours ago, but still feeling very seasonal. 45 in Columbia right now, 50 in Jefferson City, looking like 43 in Boonville and 44 in Versailles. Sedalia is at 45 right now. Winds from the northeast about 8 miles an hour. They are going to continue to be between about 4 to 8 miles an hour throughout our nighttime. We're getting down to 32 then by sunrise. A lot of cloud cover expected tomorrow, and then we do have those chances for rain and snow arriving Tuesday night into Wednesday. I'm tracking everything hour by hour after the break.
Kenton, thanks. After weather, officers and deputies take their Special Olympic donations to new heights.
And another business closure over the weekend to make room for student housing. Why some are for and against the change.